Welcome to another edition of The Breakdown, and I'm going to get right to it. But before I do, make sure you find me on Twitter, Instagram. My name's OKCBoy on Twitter, just as you see here. And on Instagram, it's OKCBoy with number 22. So OKCBoy22. Like, subscribe to this YouTube channel right here, because I'm going to be bringing the hard-hitting action as we get closer to the playoffs. But I'm going to get right into it. So, for all intensive purposes, it seems as if the Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets are on a collision course to meet in the Western Conference Finals, with the Houston Rockets being the 1 seed and the Golden State Warriors being the number 2 seed. After the Warriors won the championship last year, it seemed as if it was just a foregone conclusion that the Warriors would be back and they would sweep their way through the West and sweep their way through whoever came out of the East, no problem. But all of a sudden, Chris Paul has joined the forces with James Harden, and the Rockets appear to be the team in the West, to many, that they appear to be the team to beat. So the Rockets have come up this season with the best record, and for the first time in 3 seasons, the Golden State Warriors will not have home court advantage throughout, barring if they have to go through the Houston Rockets. Now, the big elephant in the room is that what's going to happen when they play? Are the Warriors going to be healthy? Because they've been healthy for the majority part of the season. They were right there neck and neck with the Rockets, and then all of a sudden, Steph Curry gets injured with another ankle injury. Kevin Durant goes out with ribs. Draymond Green hurt his groin, which is no big deal. I believe Klay Thompson broke his finger, one of his fingers. So all 4 of the Golden State Warriors superstars and all-stars are going to be coming into the playoffs coming off of an injury, and Steph Curry has just re-injured his knee again, so they're saying that he could possibly miss the first round, and Klay Thompson should be expected to be back before the first round. What do you say, folks? I mean, is this the way that Houston's going to be able to get to the finals, by playing an injured Golden State team, or do you see Golden State getting healthy enough to be able to take on Houston? Or do you just not think that no matter what Golden State does, this is just Houston's year this year, which definitely has been a special year for James Harden and the crew? What I say to that is that my opinion is that the only way that the Houston Rockets can beat the Golden State Warriors in a 7-game series is if something happens to Steph Curry and or Kevin Durant and or Klay Thompson. There has to be an injury to one of the Golden State Warriors 4 All-Stars in order for Houston to win. I know Houston they got like a 30-something-2 record with when Capella and Chris Paul and James Harden all play together. I know that. I know they have the best record in the NBA. I know that they even beat the Warriors 2 out of 3 times in the regular season series. And I know that they're going to have home court advantage in the playoffs. But I say that if the Golden State Warriors are healthy, the Golden State Warriors will get back to the NBA Finals for a 4th time in a row, which is rare in basketball. In the history of basketball, not many teams make it to 4 straight NBA Finals. But I think this Golden State Warriors team can do it. Now, this is probably going to be the toughest year for them because they don't have as much depth. I mean, when I look at Golden State, they don't have as much depth. The guys that come off the bench are not as good as they once were. And that is to be expected when you sign a player like Kevin Durant. You're just not going to be able to keep all of the depth that you had off the bench. And I must say, James Harden is playing at an MVP level. He is going to win MVP. Nobody else is even close. Chris Paul is looking good over there. I must say, it is impressive. They have impressed me. Every test that you've put up for the Houston Rockets to pass this year, they've done it. They appear to be a little bit better on defense. They have more depth than Golden State has with the signings of Joe Johnson and Gerald Green And they've got Ryan Anderson now coming off the bench. And they've got P.J. Tucker, Luke Mbah-a-Moute. And they've got Eric Gordon as the supporting cast, along with Clint Capella and Nene. So the Houston Rockets have the depth over the Golden State Warriors. They've got the superstars to go with it. They've got an offensive-minded coach who has seemed to add defense. They can shoot threes every bit as good, if not better, than the Golden State Warriors. They seem like they've got it all rolling for them. And I still say, I don't care. In my opinion, the Golden State Warriors, if they are healthy, and when I say healthy, that means if their guys are on the court. If their guys are on the court and they have a nagging injury here or there, to me, you're healthy. You're on the court. If they got their 4 guys, their 4 all-stars on the court, they will knock off the Houston Rockets. And I personally don't think it will even get to 7 games. I think it would only be a 6-game series. And here's why. Although Chris Paul's playing at a high level and has really come in and helped the Houston Rockets transform their team and bring a little bit of more toughness to their team, although James Harden is playing at that MVP level, what I'm going to say here, folks, you're going to hear it here first and you're going to watch it play out. In my opinion, the Houston Rockets will not beat the Golden State Warriors, and here's why. Because when they play the Golden State Warriors, there's going to be some tight ball games in there that come down to the last 2 minutes, if not the last minute. And in those situations, Chris Paul and James Harden both have a history of melting down in those situations, in the big moments, in the playoffs, when the series may be tied at 2. They have history of melting down. We've seen James Harden do it against the Spurs last year in overtime in Game 5. Did not deliver the goods for his team to win. And ultimately in Game 6 did not even just show up. That was a clone that we saw out there because that wasn't James Harden. And you have to couple that with the fact that Kawhi Leonard was not even playing in Game 6 when the Spurs eliminated the Houston Rockets on the Houston Rockets home floor. And James Harden didn't even show up. And then you have to look at situations like when Chris Paul was back with the Clippers and they were playing the Thunder a few years back, and they had the Thunder beat on the Thunder's home court, ready to go up 3-2 and go back home. And Chris Paul melted down, thought he was going to get fouled, turned the ball over. The Thunder came back and won that game and ultimately ended up winning the series in 6 out in Los Angeles. So Chris Paul has melted down many times and has not delivered the goods when he's needed to. You look at last year, they were the favorites versus the Jazz in the first round, and he couldn't get it done. In Game 7, got blown off of his own floor, I believe. And then James Harden, you go back to the NBA Finals. Yeah, he was young versus LeBron and D. Wade and the boys. But you go back to the NBA Finals, and the guy was nowhere to be found. You go to a few years ago when the Warriors first came on the scene. James Harden, nowhere to be found. So these guys, in my opinion, they're going to have to prove it to me that they can make the clutch plays in the clutch time situations. Because Golden State, no matter what you want to say about them, no matter the injuries, no matter not having home court, Golden State is going to put Houston in a position to make plays in the crunch time when you need to make plays. And granted, Houston has all of these other players. Eric Gordon, Ryan Anderson, Luke Mbah-a-Moute, P.J. Tucker, Gerald Green, Joe Johnson. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to either Chris Paul and or ultimately James Harden, who's going to be the MVP, to make a play that's going to put Houston over the top to get to the NBA Finals. And I'm not so sure he can do it. Keep in mind, folks, this will be, I believe, if once Houston, because I expect them to make the Western Conference Finals. Once they make the Western Conference Finals, this will be Chris Paul's first time playing in the Western Conference Finals in his entire season, in his entire career. So you really expect him in that moment, with an opportunity to go to the finals, do you really expect Chris Paul to be able to deliver the goods in crunch time to go to the finals? Now, James Harden's been to the finals once before, but we know what happened when he got there. Chris Paul's never been close to the finals. The furthest he's been is the second round, but he's never been to the conference finals. And Chris Paul, along with James Harden, is going to have to make plays. And the Golden State Warriors, I believe, are still going to show people why they are the world champions 2 times out of the last 3 years. Because when it matters the most, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry are going to be able to make the plays necessary to win. They're going to put Kevin Durant in situations where all he needs to do is score. Because I don't trust Kevin Durant to make a play in the crunch time either, although he did do it in the finals. But so the only way, in my opinion, that Golden State does not beat Houston is if Golden State is injured, is if Steph Curry is not playing. Because we know Kevin Durant cannot put the team on his back, and not in my opinion. It starts with Curry and it ends with Curry, and everybody knows that. So the only way that Houston gets by is if Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and or even Kevin Durant, if one of those guys are not even playing in that series, I'd probably favor Houston, or Houston would have a lot better shot to win. But if all those guys show up, granted Houston's got the advantage, the home court advantage, the MVP, appear to be better on defense, or better than they usually are on defense. They have the depth. They've got the coach. I still think Golden State Warriors come out as your Western Conference champions and will face LeBron James for the 4th straight year and another NBA Finals Classic. What say you? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'm out.